Here are some reminders to help you get the most out of your Dive Math 6.5 CDs. First, work the problems with me. Work every practice problem that I work and write down everything that I write down. Remember too that my practice problems, they aren't the same as the practice problems in that particular lesson that you're doing. They're similar, but they're not the same. So if you need some extra practice, do the ones in the book as well. Next, pause and rewind until you understand. This is one of the things that makes doing a lesson on a CD so much better than a live classroom, is that you can rewind the teacher. You can just rewind and rewind until you understand a particular concept. So make sure and take advantage of that. Also, remember when you're working the practice problems, do a couple of them with me. Then if you think you understand how to do the next one, pause the CD, work it yourself, fast forward to the answer. If you got it right, great, go on to the next one. If you got it incorrect, rewind and see what you did wrong. You also need to make sure and do the facts practice, mental math, and problem solving section that's at the top of each lesson. Do one of those at least once per week. And those facts practice tests, you need to make at least a 90% or greater on those. Otherwise, you need to do them again. You should also time yourself on those facts practice tests and try to beat your previous time. Also, remember to do all the problems in every problem set, and also do all the tests that are in the test booklet. And there are instructions in the test booklet as to when to take those tests. It's also important in Math 6.5 to show your work. You'll be learning lots of skills working with fractions and with division where you need to show your work, or you'll get too confused about how to solve the problem. So make sure and show your work when you need to. Don't use a calculator though. You don't need a calculator at all in Math 6.5, so just leave it alone. And finally, have a good attitude. The best math program in the world won't make a bit of difference if you don't have a good, hard-working attitude. Be thankful that you have a nice computer with speakers and a cool CD lesson to work on and to learn from. Not everybody has that advantage that you have. God has given you a great opportunity here to have an excellent education, and part of it is up to you as to your attitude and what you make of this opportunity. So work hard, do your best to learn these lessons, and I know that God will bless you for that. Lesson 5 is on naming whole numbers, and then there's another part on dollars and cents. This lesson starts on page 16. Now if we have that number 215, we know that there's 2 hundreds, 1 10, and 5 ones. Now if we wanted to write that word or that number in words, we wouldn't just say 215 like that. We wouldn't write it in words like that. This is how we would write it. 215. We'd use those words. 215. We wouldn't say 215 either. I mean, we could write 215, but that's just the accepted way to write that. 215. Now sometimes you might have seen a number that was written out and it has a dash between the words, like 27, for example. You would write that 20 hyphen or dash 7. Now numbers that you put a dash in between them, those are between 21 and 99, and you don't do like 60 or 70 numbers that end in 0. You don't put a dash there because it's just one word. 60, 70, 80, 90, like that. It is just one word. There's no way you can put a dash in between them. So keep that in mind. Any number between 21 and 99, you put a dash in between the two words when you write it. 21, 22, 35, 47, 59, numbers like that, you put a dash in between the words when you write them out. Now the time that you do use the word and when you are naming a whole number or writing it down in words is when you're dealing with money, and the and separates the dollars part from the cents part. For example, if you had 375, let's put the dollar sign out front, this is how you would say that. $3 dollars and. See, that and separates the dollars part from the cents part. 75. Now we put a dash in there. 21 or 75 is between 21 and 99. All of those numbers you put a dash or a hyphen in between the two words. 75 cents. That's how we would write 375. We might call that, if we just look at it, we might say 375, or you might say, oh, well, the hamburger costs $3.75. But when you write it in words, when you give it a name, you say $3.75. That's the accepted way to write that number using words. The only time you use and when you're naming numbers is when you're talking about money and you're wanting to separate the dollars part from the cents part. Look at practice problem A. I want you to use words to name $118.37. So let's just think about what we have there. 100 $18 and that separates our dollars part from our cents part. 37. Remember to put that hyphen in there between the 30 and the 7. 37 cents. Now you might be thinking to yourself, well, I give one part of it the name dollars and then the second part of the name cents. Why do I need an and to separate them? You could just say $118.37. I just noticed I forgot a D there in the 100. But anyway, you could say that. You could write it $118, forget about the and then just have 37 cents. But that's just the accepted way to do this. So just remember that. That's just kind of how everybody writes it. And it's important for you to be able to name numbers and to write them down, particularly money, because when you write a check, you have to write down that number. You write the number value, and then you name that number as well, and you have to write it out. So it's real important for you to be able to name numbers and name dollar and cent amounts appropriately. Let's do some more practice. Name 431 there, 431. So let's just write that down using words. 400 31. There'll be a hyphen between the 30 and the 1. Remember, any number between 21 and 99 that doesn't end in 0, you put a hyphen in between the two words. Let's do one more problem. Change these words into a number value, $329.90. So you would put a dollar sign first. 329, so that'd be 329, and 90 cents. Now we put a decimal point. That's called that little dot or period looking point. That's called the decimal point. And then we put our cents part after that. 90. $329.90. That's how you would write that using numbers. Okay, well that's all for lesson 5.